From the International Paralympic Committee, athletes from both Russia and Belarus are now banned from the Paralympic Winter Games in Beijing. It is Thursday. That's less than a day after they were told they would be allowed to compete and a day before the opening ceremony. Devin Haru is in Beijing. He's going to be covering the Paralympics for us and CBC Sports live with me this morning. And good to see you, Devin, on this breaking news. A pretty stunning reversal from the IPC.
Good morning to you, Heather. Speaking directly to Russian and Belarusian athletes, IPC President Andrew Parsons said these are the consequences of your government. It certainly has been a turbulent 24 hours here in Beijing. As you said it, exactly 24 hours ago, the International Paralympic Committee ruling that athletes from Russia and Belarus would be able to compete here as neutral athletes. You can imagine there was swift reaction, harsh reaction, and the International Paralympic Committee wasn't expecting that. They did not believe that that decision would set off somewhat of a powder keg of reaction, ranging from Paralympic committees and athletes saying they would not take to the field to play. We were hearing stories from Parsons saying that athletes didn't feel safe in the athletes' village. It was tense here, Heather. And so they felt they needed to make this decision. They had an internal urgent meeting here today, and that's when they decided that the Russians and the Belarusians would be going home. Take a listen to IPC President Andrew Parsons.
In the last 12 hours, an overwhelming number of members have been in touch with us and being very open, for which I am grateful. They have told us that if we do not reconsider our decision, it is now likely to have grave consequences for the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. In order to preserve the integrity of these games and the safety of all participants, we have decided to refuse the athlete entries from RPC and NPC Belarus.
I think it's so important, Heather, to highlight the activism of the athletes in this case for making this reversal decision happen. And now 83 athletes from Russia and Belarus are heading home.
As you say, the outcry from athletes in such a strong response at the initial decision. And now that it has been reversed, Devin, what are you now hearing?
Heather, you can imagine that I've been hearing from a number of athletes on the ground here. My phone was lighting up in the wake of the decision yesterday at this time to allow them to stay. Many of our Canadian athletes messaging me saying it put them in this precarious situation of having to decide whether or not they would actually even take to the ice to play at that point, the Russian Paralympic Committee. They were frustrated, they were confused, and they were angry. So much more than sport playing out here at the Paralympics on the eve of the opening ceremony. And we should point out, Heather, that 20 athletes and 9 guides from Ukraine are here. They held a press conference this afternoon, and they said it's a miracle that we're here. This is all going to continue to develop here as we count down to the opening of the Paralympics, and we'll have extensive coverage from here on the ground, Heather.
And we will look forward to hearing from you. So good to have you in place for this major story. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate it. Devin Haru live in Beijing for the start of the Paralympic Winter Games.